All right, guys. We're gonna be talking about the euro yen, and the euro yen. It's pretty similar to the dollar yen. Um, and I think it's really more based on the yen pairs here. So once again, we're bouncing out of the monthly support, coming into weekly resistance. So let's go ahead and drop it down to the weekly. Sorry. And as you'll see, we kind of had like somewhat of a good rejection off this weekly resistance area. Um, and let's go ahead and drop it down to a daily. Um, as you can see, that daily candle, that's somewhat, I mean, that's, for me, I see that as a really bearish candle, right out of that 25 level. So I'm not really looking for longs yet as an overnight. But what I will consider is if we get a drop maybe towards this 122.50 area, and pretty much here, let me drop it down to, well, before I do that, this is the entire area I'm really shooting for. And you can see it really good on the daily, but let's go ahead and drop it down to a 4-hour. Let's see what we could see there. So you got a 4-hour demand right there. You got support right there as well. So my entire entry on this one that I'm looking for is pretty much just 122.50. Let's go and drop it. As a matter of fact, I'll do that here. I'm looking at a 122.50 entry, and stop loss is my 121.75. Just pretty much almost the same level here that I had here. So this is pretty much the entry that I'm shooting for. And as far as targets, let me go to 24.25, which is pretty much where we're at right now, where we got the rejection candle from. So that's going to be the first. And then the second target is going to be the 125. When I talk about these second targets, guys, these are targets where they're not really met just to kind of set them and forget them, because you should expect a bounce even off this first target. So if you're that type of trader that maybe doesn't like taking unnecessary heat, you might want to consider just this first target. At any rate, this can easily pay at 2-to-1. I believe I measured it out. There you go. A little bit more of than 2-to-1, but let's just, for sake of this example, it's a 2-to-1 trade. If maybe now, when I talk about these trades, guys, if so, let's today is Sunday. So as price, let's just say, for example, price keeps on dropping, and dropping. Just because it's dropping for today doesn't necessarily mean that I am going to take the trade for today, because for all we know, let's just kind of, doesn't really happen that, like pretty much like what I said. Sometimes the Asian session will actually drop it here, and then the London session will continue its direction back down, and then sometimes when we get the sometimes the London session will actually kick back in here, and then break again towards the downside, and then that would be the break of the Asian session, and then sometimes the New York session will actually continue its way down here. So if the New York session kicks in and it digs in here, I'm not going to place a trade, because the day has already determined its its trend for the day. So what I'll do is that I'll wait for some kind of hesitation, and typically what I end up noticing is that we'll get these hesitations like that, and then you'll either see the break towards the upside through your Asian session, London session, or if you don't get that, depending on how the currencies align or the strong weak analysis, sometimes you will end up getting that. Now, if that happens, then this trade is pretty much invalid at that point, because most likely then you'll get the retracement up here for your continuation back down. And then that's why I labeled the other level. That if that was to happen, you got your daily demand. This is actually daily demand and 4-hour demand, and 4-hour support at this level. So that's why my first area of preference would be that. But considering that we are in weekly support, this is one of those trades where you might want to wait. Now, if you are one of those people that there's a couple of you that, oh, you have day jobs and you can't really stick along for the London session, well, then you're just going to have to measure it out, and you're going to have to actually determine, hey, you know what, before you place your trades and head on towards your job, you have to find out, okay, what's the strong weak analysis for that given day. Is the euro actually still stronger than the yen? Then yeah, go ahead and put it on. But if the euro is actually, depending on the strong weak analysis, if it's still falling before you actually head up heading to work, then it might not be doable. Maybe you might just want to wait towards the end of the day to see how it ended up pushing it. Did it push up towards the upside or towards the downside? If it ended up pushing towards the downside, then you know all you got to do is just wait for the pullback for you to continue it towards the next your daily demand. So that's the play for this, pretty much for this euro yen, guys. I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.